grumpy today?
Because I didn't get enough sleep last night.
Why didn't you get enough sleep?
I had shit to do this morning. What's it to you?
Oh, I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be cool if you weren't being such a dick.
Man, that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Colorado Show, the most serious show in the Centennial State.
Are we serious today?
We do have a ton of stories. We might go long today. This is going to be our final show on Sunday in this time slot. We're moving the show to Wednesdays at noon Mountain Time, 2 p.m. in the free state of Florida, and we'll be the midweek lunch break on CDM. So excited about that. And we're gonna power through. I think, hang on, let me see how many stories we have here. We have today on today's show.
Enough.
I think 17 actually stories.
Well, they ain't going through 17 stories today. Are you saying what the heck is going on in your state? You need 17 stories.
We usually have like 5 or 6 and get through the first 2. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to power through.
You got to give us more credit.
I was hoping Karen was going to join us, but I think she's probably in transit somewhere out in those streets.
Karen is probably tailing a suspect right now.
Possible. It is possible. So let's hear from our first couple of sponsors, and then we'll get into the content of today's show.
If you haven't noticed, gold has reached a new high, all-time highs actually, and keeps going up every day. Why is that? It's because precious metals are a long-time historical store of value. And if you own a portfolio and you have assets in the fiat currencies, i.e. stocks, bonds, cash, or whatever, you're vulnerable to hyperinflation, which is coming as our debt explodes another trillion every 90 days. It's really scary. So how do you protect yourself? Go to Advisor Metals. If you look on any of our cdm.press sites, about halfway down, there's an ad for Advisor Metals. Click on it, fill out the form for your contact info, and Ira Bishotsky will contact you and talk to you. It's an easy conversation. There's no sales pitch. He's completely verified by us. He has a regulatory background we've checked into. We've checked with his bankers. We've checked with his IRA custodians for metals, and we can highly recommend Advisor Metals and IRA. So go to Advisor Metals. If you call them directly, tell them we sent you at CDM, and he'll definitely take care of you. But protect your portfolio because you really need to. It's coming. Thank you.
I'm David Cross, and you may know me from my election integrity work, but I also own U.S. Asset Management, a family-owned and operated investment advisory practice. I'm a certified portfolio manager, and my job is to help you make better decisions with your money. One of the things we try to avoid is investing in companies that push the woke agenda. If you're invested with one of the big firms out there, there's a pretty good chance that you're feeding the beast that hates your values. Our company is 100% conservative, and we'd love to have an opportunity to work with you. Check us out at us-am.com and look for our big, proud American Eagle logo.
All right, and we are back.
Indeed, we are. We better be.
Did you like my hat?
Yeah, it's dope. Did you have it custom made or?
No, I got it at the GOP Centennial Dinner where Steve Bannon spoke.
Oh, okay.
I helped them out with like setup and stuff. And
how come everybody else gets souvenirs? Everybody on the show gets souvenirs, but I don't.
This was my personal
voluntary
association with the Colorado GOP.
I don't care. I'm hating anyway.
You are a super hater today.
Yes, I am.
Oh, Jules likes your handle at Vaccine Waters 25. Yes, if you're not following Darren on X, you can follow him at Vaccine Waters 25.
There's no reason to follow me. I'm not that special, but I am though.
I think you're special.
What you trying to call me slow? You trying to call me slow? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, get on the fucking short bus, dude. Today you need to be on the short bus. All right. So first up, we're going to talk about House Bill 251312. This is the we're going to take your kids for misgendering bill, and a lot of talk about this one. We've got a video here, but I'm going to read what she says and then we'll watch her video. This is Rep Brandy Bradley. She's been on the show before. Awesome lady, and you can follow her at Bradley for Colorado CO. Hey guys, I'm hearing a lot of confusion about HB 1312. So I decided to break it down for you. Don't trust the bill summary. It never changes, even when the bill does. The real issues are in the fine print. Section 6 allows a student to adopt a name different from their legal name. School, for any reason, parents can still be left in the dark. This is how they divide kids from their families, and it's still in the bill. Section 8 changes the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act, CADA, to include the chosen name tied to identity characteristics like sexual orientation and gender identity. What does that mean for businesses, churches, and parents? Can a parent lose custody for discriminating against their own child? Can private schools, churches, or summer camps be sued for not using a chosen name? How many times must someone misgender before they're legally liable? This is dangerous, vague policy pushed through without real answers. They're lying to you when they say the bill is fixed. It came back from the Senate worse than before. We've seen what happened to Jack Phillips and Lori Smith. Don't think this won't come for your family, your church, or your small business. Call 303-866-2885. Tell Governor Polis veto HB 251312. It's too late. He didn't. And she says, and if
he signed it, right?
He did. He signed it with no signing ceremony, which is very interesting. Just before we play this video, Jack Phillips is, of course, the Christian baker who has spent more than 11 years. I don't know how many years we're at this point. Been to the Supreme Court twice because he refuses to bake trans or gay cakes that forces his participation in ceremonies he doesn't ideologically agree with. And I believe Lori Smith is the graphic designer who kind of had the same.
And then they went to the Supreme Court, right?
Twice, Jack Phillips. Yeah. It was a gay wedding cake, I believe, first. And then he won that at the Supreme Court, came back to Colorado after winning at the Supreme Court and was almost immediately sued for a trans cake.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. So let's listen to Brandy.
Hey guys, there seems to be a lot of confusion about 1312, so I decided to do a video. Disregard the bill summary. It stays the same no matter what. But section 6 is where we're having the problem. There's still the policy must be inclusive of all reasons that a student might adopt a name that differs from the student's legal name. That is new bill language. It means that a child can go to school and change their name from the student's legal name. It's still dividing parents from children. And we still have a really big problem with that. Now, if you skip to section 8 in the bill, this is under CADA, the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act. And what that is a state law that prohibits discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodation based on specific characteristics. And what they have added in the bill is chosen name. That means a name that an individual requests to be known as in connection to the individual's disability, race, creed, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, and the list goes on, so long as the name does not contain offensive language and the individual is not requesting the name for frivolous purposes. We don't even know what that means. And we don't know how many times you can do that or misgender or dead name, how many times, and then the business will be held liable. So what we have a problem with that is that the parent discriminates against his or her own child, would the parent then be in jeopardy of losing the custody of the child? We're already seeing this happen many different ways, many different times all over the state of Colorado. So we know this is already happening before this is even codified into law. What happens with private schools and charters? What we're seeing is the church opens parts of its property to services to the community or even daycare. They can be susceptible to this part of CADA. We see it for private schools that operate maybe open summer camps. They will be susceptible to this part of CADA. We see it with Jack Phillips and Lori Smith with Creative 303. So we know that they will be susceptible. And this is why this bill has come out of the Senate even worse. Do not believe the hype. The local media is telling you this is not a bad bill. This bill is worse, and it will create serious problems for parents in our community, businesses in our community, the private school sector, and all over the state of Colorado. Tell Jared Polis to vote no on this.
Well, we can't really tell him to. He already did it.
This is beyond psychotic. Are y'all ready to move yet?
You know, you and I have talked about this before, man. You can't flee. If you flee, you yield the ground to the communists. Now I want to play this video.
It's all good till you end up in cuffs. calling Jerry Janine.
You know, I'm really glad you said that because the next video I'm changing up the show flow because you said that, because that's something people actually have to get comfortable with. This is
Going to
the
jail?
testimony. Yeah. Yeah. This is test for your kids to protect your kids. Yeah. This is testimony
grab
about
your kids and move. You know
1312.
the problem is, Ash, this is before you do this. Let me tell
Problem
you
is
what the
most people
issue
are
is.
pussy.
No, it's not even that. The problem is that no matter, even if we're not afraid to go to jail and all that, guess what? You're still financially feeding the beast. You still got to pay taxes, Holmes. And that's what feeds this nonsense. It's not going to stop. They don't give a shit about putting you in jail because then they get paid off that too.
Yeah.
Only thing people understand is loss of finances. That's it. That's it.
So if you think about how is this bill going to impact parents, we have testimony from the Senate Judiciary. We can take a listen to this.
Members of the committee, thank you for your time today. My name is Kelly Noda Francesco, and I'm representing myself, and I'm here in opposition of 1312. So I oppose this bill for a bit of a different reason than I think a lot of other people have mentioned here today, and that I think it violates the principle of the Establishment Clause, which prohibits the government from making laws establishing state-mandated religion. And there was actually several proponents of this bill have actually pointed out the Establishment Clause as well. The concepts codified in 1312 are based on ideas that humans are trapped by this powerful society, which is essentially a prison constructed by dominant classes who get to decide how humans are supposed to act and behave. People who have been enlightened to this worldview then have a moral obligation and teleological religious responsibility to liberate their fellow humans from this societal prison and break humans free to be their authentic selves. I'm concerned that elected officials are using the power of government force to create the perfected world they perhaps envision while punishing anyone who dissents. 1312 is telling Coloradans, participate in our religious belief that humans must be freed from these oppressive structures, or the state of Colorado will sever your rights to parent your child. Participate in our religious belief, or the state of Colorado will threaten your livelihood and close your business. Participate in our religious belief, or the state of Colorado will close your school. The foundational problem with 1312 and many of its predecessors is that they defy the US Constitution, which rests on the understanding that government force cannot compel an individual's conscience. Colorado is using the threat of government force to compel US citizens to participate in a particular religious worldview. Regardless of any pieces of 1312 which may be removed, the foundational defect remains the same. In the United States, government force may not be used to impose religious beliefs. All legislators swore an oath to preserve the US Constitution, and I urge you to uphold those oaths and vote no on 1312. Thank you.
Spoiler alert, they did not. They passed it, and the governor signed it, and it's law now.
And they want to take all your kids and do what with the Ash?
Oh, they want to have sex with their kids. That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
Time to move, dog.
Yeah, or turn them into little, sacrifices to Baphomet, which is what a lot of these people are doing. But she's 100% right. It's religious compulsion. I think that was really well said.
I've seen bills like, okay, I see the bills kind of like get proposed. Okay, you think it's, and then when they sign it, like, oh shit, this shit is real. Like, that's gross. People are insane.
Yeah. So you heard,
real quick, how many people actually like? How does a bill like this come up? Is it like who says, hey, we're gonna do this, and how many people like, as far as the citizenry, are okay with it?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this bill came out of the MAPS caucus, the Minor Attracted Person Caucus.
Is that an actual caucus in Colorado?
I don't know, but there definitely is one. I don't think they probably call themselves that, but they don't think there's anything wrong with minor attracted people. They think that that's like a regular orientation, and that those people need to be protected and be able to participate in society. I think that people that harm children need to be removed from society. So We are
I
not.
do understand that this might get some. You come trying to take somebody's kids, you might have a problem. You know that, right?
Yeah, and that's so I was gonna talk about the camps next, but I think we're gonna change it up and listen to Shipwreck because she put this video out today, and I think it really encapsulates what it means to resist,
Hold up,
and it's
what?
Yeah, we're
Dirty
gonna talk about that later in the show. Stop jumping ahead. Crisscross, stop distracting Darren. So she put this out today, and it really encapsulates what it means to resist. It comes down to your personal behavior. It comes down to your personal purchasing decisions, where you decide to place your energy and your resources. And I thought this was really great. She lives in Iowa. So Shipwreck just recently joined Badlands. She does a show on Wednesday night, Shipwreck Show on Wednesday nights. I would encourage people to follow her. She's awesome. Shipwreck Show at Shipwreck Show on X and I think all socials. But she's fantastic. And this video, as I was putting the show together, this video, I was like, well, this just fits perfectly with what we're talking about. And you teed it up. When are you going to move? When are you going to flee? Well, I'm not. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to resist. Take a listen to this.
Your Enterman's puts in their muffins and in their bread, but I can control what I put into mine. I can't control the government's recommended food period, but I can control as to whether or not I'm going to follow it. I can't control what Big Pharma cuts its meds with, but I can control whether or not I'm going to participate. I can't control the jab schedule, but I can control whether or not my children are going to get it. There's religious exemption in 47 out of the 50 states. Not a lot of work to get it done, but it takes a little resolve in order to stick to it. A little courage to say no. Can't necessarily control what my kids learn at school, but I can control the conversations that I have with them about pushing the propaganda and temporary societal fads. Can't necessarily control what idiots put on the internet, but I can control how much or how little I'm going to engage with it. How much or how little I'm going to take it on. How much or how little I'm going to be emotionally invested in it without doing my own research on the topic. Are you catching the theme here? I can't control what other parents decide to do with their kids, but I can control how I decide to raise mine. Free will is a finicky thing. I can't control people putting their children's faces out here on the internet for disgusting and awful people to take those faces and artificially intelligence them onto another body and then make some pretty gross videos with them. But I can control the fact that I will not put my own children on the internet. I can't save your children, but I can save my own. I can't control a lot of things, but there are a whole ton of things that are well within my control. Can't control the scale of hope that people may or may not have across this country, but I can control the amount of hope that I have as a person, as a sovereign person. There are a whole lot of things that you can't control out there right now, but there's a whole lot of things that you can. During COVID, a mass awakening happened and people really started to push back, and that ended with a lot of us being ostracized out of our communities and online. We all made the choice, and it wasn't a popular choice at the time. What it really boils down to is how brave and courageous you're ready
Here
to
it
be,
is.
how confrontational you're ready to get, how comfortable you are walking into your children's doctor's offices and saying, hey, I'm not going to do that today. Hey, I'm not comfortable with that. Hey, can you tell me what's in that? What are the side effects of this? A lot of us in 2020 got real comfortable with being real confrontational. But I think a lot of people out there are still kind of shying away, demanding change on a federal level. But realistically, when it comes right down to it, in your own house, you can opt out. Not all things, but a lot of them. That's why we cook. That's why we make things from scratch. That's why people have backyard chickens. That's why people are growing backyard orchards. It's rebellion. It's quiet, but it's rebellion. Rebellion doesn't always have to be loud and egregious. Sometimes rebellion is just stepping away. Sometimes rebellion is, I don't like this. I'm just going to go. Everything that you stand against makes money for somebody else. Remember that. If it doesn't make money anymore, how long is it really going to be around? You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Individual choices, and that's, I think, the key message for families in Colorado looking at all these things that the government is doing. And some of these bills, like 1312, Senate Bill 003, the gun one, the people showed up in mass to oppose these things, and the government proved that they don't give a shit what the people say. That's untenable. That's an unsustainable position for the Colorado executive and legislative branches to be in.
Oh, Crisscross said there's something wrong with the stream.
Oh, I don't know. Watching on Rumble. Which Rumble are you watching? I can't see which channel. We're streaming to 4 different Rumble channels, so I don't know which one you're on. But I don't know what the problem is. You can also watch on X. Shipwreck is great. She's fantastic. So watch her new show. I think it's on at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Badlands on Wednesday nights.
Yo, Jared Polis.
So you can watch the Colorado show and take a break, go outside, spend some time in nature, and then tune in and watch Shipwreck.
Jared Polis is one nasty individual. Ugh. Like that
It's
is
not just him, man. It's the whole group of
that
communists.
just
So
oh man.
let's talk about the camps now. So that bill, the COTA, that Brandy Bradley was talking about, the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act, she
Hmm.
mentioned kind of in passing, it impacts camps. It really does. Camps, Christian camps are now being compelled to allow males into female spaces at camps.
Insane.
This camp is fighting back. Idra Haji. It stands for I'd rather have Jesus. My kids went to this camp when they were young. It's a great camp. They sleep in these like platform teepees, and they do all sorts of amazing adventures, and they learn about Jesus, and it's a really great experience for kids. But now the camps are being forced to participate in gender nonsense, even if they disagree, and parents then have to be concerned about sending their kids to camps. Well,
You know
there's
what they should do? You know what they should do?
they should sue. They are.
No. Forget suing. Forget suing. Sign up, and go. And if something happens that you don't like, the camp, let the camp refund everybody, and then leave the one or two whatever at the camp. Everybody else just leave.
Yeah, I mean, so camp is not cheap, right? It's a financial investment in your kids. The sending your kids to
Yeah,
summer
that's
camp
why you need to make an
is
agreement
a
with the camp.
privilege. If you're in the position where you can send your kids to summer camp, you're in a
Yeah, but that's why
privileged situation.
you make an agreement with the camp that if this happens, you're going to refund all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is sick. Like, and it's funny because they're not even scared of it anymore. Like, there's no tiptoeing around it. They're just like, hey, bring your
Yeah.
kids. They're ours now. Like, what?
Yeah.
Man, that
Yeah, it
type of
takes a
stuff.
village. Remember when Hillary Clinton said it takes a village?
Yeah,
They
but here,
always want your kids. Every time there's some sort of societal, crisis, which we have all the time now, every time they make a move, the Democrats generally, but the broader uniparty establishment makes a move to take the kids. It happens when it comes to, back during COVID, that one of the first things that they were coming out, if parents aren't going to vaccinate their kids, then we need to take their kids away. They always want the kids because they wanna have sex with them.
yeah, pretty accurate.
It's my
I mean,
theory. That's my theory, and you know what, man?
honestly, I
They've
look.
gotten real brazen with how much they want to engage with children in their sexuality.
You know, it's so funny. There was an interview recently with this goofball named Jason Lee and Candace Owens, right? And it's funny because he was, you know how Candace is when it comes to transgenderism. Like, she pulls no punches. Like, she just she's like, you're a man. That's that, right? So
Mhm.
Jason Lee, for some odd reason, shifted the conversation to he's like, well, sometimes because he's part of the alphabet community. He said, well, sometimes he's like, you guys seem to associate LGBTQ with pedophilia, and it's like, where'd that come from, dog? Like, you just pulled that out your ass out of nowhere.
I don't think
Like,
anybody is associating LGB with pedophilia, but there's a lot of evidence that the TQ plus 2SIA whatever
LMNOP,
community, it has
TLC,
an
OPP.
outsized desire to access other people's children. Like, you can live in your identity and be a member of society, and I will advocate for nobody to fuck with you. But if you are actively suggesting that you being a participant in society and living authentically means that you need to have access to children and specifically in a sexual domain, nope. No, that's not
Look,
an identity thing. And I don't believe that minor attracted person is a legitimate identity. I think that means that you're a pedophile, and I think that pedophiles need to be removed from society.
oh yeah, in a major way,
Yeah,
and
most people
honestly,
agree with that.
yeah, yeah. But the question is, in this situation right here, this is just a gateway to it. So
Yeah,
so the question is,
normalizing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they're trying to. this is gonna look. I tell you one thing though. If all of this starts happening and we start seeing some things and people get away with it, then I can tell you right now,
It is
Colorado's
happening.
yeah. Well,
I
wait, when people
Okay.
start fully getting away with it on a massive scale, Colorado is going to be the haven for every sexual
Yeah.
deviant in this country.
Yeah, I posted that last week actually, that Colorado is a map sanctuary, and JB in Colorado came in immediately and was like, "Don't use their words. Don't use the word map. It's a pedophile sanctuary." And it is. It is. They it's like if we start seeing this happen, I think this 1312 bill, and I've said this a whole bunch of times going back to when the bill was still being debated. I think this 1312 bill is to retroactively make their grooming and kidnapping of children, of minors, legal. I think they're trying to make their behavior that they've already engaged in lawful. We talked about when it was going down the Smotherman case, where Vivian and Joanne Smotherman basically, while this autistic girl's mother was fighting cancer, so the kind of family in crisis type situation, parents aren't maybe paying as much attention as they would be paying because you're fighting cancer, and they swooped in there and groomed the autistic daughter, convinced her that she was a boy, ran away to the Smotherman's house. The family calls the police and says, we
Police
want
are
our
like,
kid
oh, we
back.
can't do nothing.
Nothing we can do.
That is
Durango,
sick.
Colorado.
That is
So a
sick.
couple things from the chat. So Crisscross says not premium Rumble, and I don't have X. I meant specifically which Rumble channel are you watching on? So there's mine, which might be the one you're talking about, My America, but we're also streaming to John B. Wells, CDM, and Insist on Truth. Maybe you'll have a better experience on either one of those channels. We're also streaming to X and Getter for folks that are first tuning in.
Hold up.
We
I'm starting to notice something here. So they
What's
want
that?
to take your guns because they want to do this.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all coming together now. Okay.
Yeah. The people that want to take your children and have sex with them also don't want you to have guns
Makes sense.
because you'd shoot them.
Oh, what? What? Would I?
I mean,
would I? It's the biggest thing I can find. Which one today?
Yeah.
What? I'd open up the closet like eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I see Abby Blue Eyes is in the chat. What's up, Abby? Abby is my co-host on the Alphas Make Sandwiches show and Culture of Change, which is Monday nights at 9 p.m.
Shout
Eastern on
out to
Bad Bits.
Abby.
And it's for Abby's first time watching the Colorado show. So what's up,
Oh,
Abby?
look.
Abby lives
Hey,
in like
Abraham.
the wilderness of Alaska.
Oh, I
So
see.
she
Oh,
doesn't have,
wow. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
some of the
How,
same
what's it like? I
societal.
want to know. What's it like?
It's pretty awesome. She's building a greenhouse right now.
That's dope. Is there any
Yeah.
sun? There's sun for greenhouse?
Is there any sun in Alaska? Did you?
Yeah. Every time I see a documentary in Alaska, it's like no sun. It's like
That's
less.
delightful.
It's always like
Abby, do you get sun in Alaska? And I see EC was here as well. What's up, dude? It's good to see you. And Kitty's here. It's good to see you as well. We do this show every week, but we're moving. This is our last show on Sundays. So for folks just tuning in, we announced at the top, but we are moving the show to Wednesdays at noon Mountain Time. It's going to be your Wednesday midweek, your midweek lunch break with Ash and Darren. We'll check in midweek at about all the crazy communism that's happening. So looking forward to that. So just one more thing on the camps here. Val, who is whoops, that's not the right link. This is the right
wrong
link.
link.
Share.
Wrong
link.
Get it
So
together.
going back to local action and what you can do to get involved, Val posted the list of camps that are likely impacted by this this gender nonsense.
By the nastiness? Yes, by the nastiness.
And she says, I've called a few of these camps and they had no clue that they are now required by the state of Colorado to bunk and use facilities based off gender and not biological sex. There's a list in this. And you can find that list at Super of My Home on X. That's Val. She's amazing. She's been on the show before as well, actually at the beginning of the legislative session. So we should have her back. I'll reach out to her this week and see if she wants to come back and talk about the end of the legislative session. It was a wild one. But yeah, screen grab this if you guys want. We need to support camps that are fighting back against this and schools and churches and other if the Christians in society stop prioritizing tax status and start fighting back against the radical communism, we can actually make some real change.
But do y'all have any? But like, how many Christians were speaking of in the first place?
I mean, I think that there's there's a lot of Christians that speak out, but there's a lot of compliance when the state threatens force.
Yeah.
So,
but doesn't your tax exempt status come from a federal level? So what can they really do?
and state too.
And state.
Yeah, you can file state tax exemption. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna see a lot of pastors out there with some pastel flag robes.
Okay. So Abby says, Abby is answering you. Okay. She says, it's beautiful. She also says hi to you.
Hello.
And then she says, up north here, summer is 3 months of sun never setting, then 3 months half and half, then 3 months darkness.
That would drive me absolutely nuts.
But that's not where she lives. She lives in
okay.
Southeast Alaska. It stays light until 11:30. Then the sun comes up at 3, so it barely stays down in the summer here.
Hold on, so it stays light until 11:30 p.m.?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
You got a little bit of, sounds like you got 3.5 hours of nighttime.
That would mess my head up. Like, like, hey, we'd be out. It's 11:30 hours. Like, shit, that would screw me up. Like, it gets dark at like 7:30 here. You know, maybe 8. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we have some. Some of this stuff is hilarious to me, and
This shit ain't funny. This shit is gross. These people are nasty, mother. Never mind.
Yeah. So the Colorado AG joined other states in a couple of lawsuits, and I am looking for the right link. I grabbed the wrong link. So what we've talked about this on the show before, but the federal government really has, one of the main things they have at their disposal to go after, to affect change in the states is federal funding, and being able to withhold funding for things like, forcing the sexualization and sterilization of children, changing behaviors around all sorts of different things. They're suing the Colorado is suing over Trump blocking billions of dollars for electric vehicle charging. They're also suing, and this is the link I can't find, but they're suing because the Trump administration is withholding funds to deal with migrants. So they're like, we're a sanctuary that defies federal immigration laws, and Trump is withholding federal immigration funding as a result of them defying federal immigration laws. And they're suing and saying, no, you have to give us the money. But I pulled the wrong link on that, so I don't have that one to pull up. They're also suing over funding for electric vehicle charging stations. They haven't built any of these yet, and the funding was in place during most of the Biden administration, but they, I think it's all money laundering. And
that's all it is anyway. Yeah, that's a fact. Like we saw $4.2 trillion get collected last year. I'm waiting for some of the great things to happen. Like, what are we doing? Like, why don't we look like Saudi Arabia?
An excellent question.
Did you see Doha?
Public corruption is the answer to that.
Hold on. Did you see Doha? The place looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't our country look like
public corruption? because we have certainly funded. You think about like the level of funding that goes into, say, transportation infrastructure in the state of Colorado. So we have RTD here, which is our light rail and our buses and the public transportation. They're all whining that they need more money, that they can't possibly fund, the system that we have on the $1 billion budget that they have right now. The trains don't run on time. There's debris on the tracks regularly. Polis is out there saying, we got to add more trains. We got to go down south. We got to go up to the mountains.
You can't even take care of the ones you got, you
Yeah,
goofball.
exactly.
And look, why don't we have, I want perfect marble. Okay.
And these people are getting massive 6-figure salaries in public administration roles. In Denver, they're trying to issue, in some cases, up to 44% raises. 44% raises for public officials in Denver, and the trains don't run on time. And there's debris on the track.
I want perfect marble.
You want it to look like Doha?
I want the marble that Trump saw.
I guarantee you, Florida will look like Doha before Denver does.
Oh, that's a fact. We are. You should see. You should see. Hey, you should see downtown Miami now. Good God, they're kicking ass.
Is it? Is it all cleaned up and nice?
Dope as hell. What? You should see the buildings they're building down. That's insane.
The thing is, they can, right? So every Olympic city,
we knew they could.
Every Olympic city that has ever existed started.
They get nice and cleaned up. Gavin Newsom Gavin Newsom cleaned up the doo-doo off the floor.
Atlanta in '96.
Yeah, like
clean that all up.
All now brand new roads. The Herman, was it? What's the company that does all the what's the company in Atlanta that does all was it the Herman Cain company that does all the runways for airports?
I don't know.
For the Atlanta airport. It lays all the concrete. They put new streets out there for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Everything was gravy.
Yeah, they can. They can, they just don't. And we're told all the time that Tabor in Colorado, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights in Colorado, is what prevents us from having nice roads.
But the problem,
it's that you guys are pocketing all the money.
Ash, this is a problem. This is going to keep
going. Another study.
Listen, I need you to listen to me very carefully, and everybody else watching, you need to listen the fuck up too. It's going to keep happening if you keep feeding the beast. That's just the way it is. They're not.
Are you telling everybody to stop?
I'm not telling nobody nothing. I'm just
because we disavow that here at CDM.
I'm not telling anybody anything. I am not a financial advisor. Okay.
Yeah, this is not financial advice.
But
nor is it civic advice. Nor is it any sort of advice. Don't listen to Darren.
Not at all. But this is just common sense. If you keep feeding the beast is going to keep getting bigger. That's just the way it is.
Tax revolt. We're not calling for that.
I don't know nothing.
Because that would get us punished probably. But
I'm just saying it's going to keep happening.
It is how the nation was founded.
Listen to what I'm saying. It's going to keep happening. You guys we're going to just rebel and march and we're going to go into the legislature and scream and yell. That ain't going to work. Only thing people understand is laws of life or laws of finances. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, I hate to bring it to you. That's it.
That is a fact, and it sort of is what it is as it pertains to Colorado. We're getting hit with more taxes. We're told all the time by the Democrat socialists. I hear what you're saying. I'm putting a fine point on it. We're told that the reason that we don't have nice things in Colorado is because of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. That because they're just not allowed to take enough money from us. That's what. Yeah. If they were allowed to take more money from us, then the streets would be nice. Yeah. But also we need to the Colorado Attorney General's office is taking on a whole bunch of lawsuits against the federal government, and the taxpayers need to fund that. It's a political fever dream.
They want to milk y'all dry. I was just telling my buddy up in New York. He's like, he hates Donald Trump, right? And I was like, dog. I said, Kathy Hochul is raping y'all, like, and you sitting here complaining about Trump.
It's a fact, yeah.
Kathy Hochul is busting your ass, and you over here complaining about Donald Trump. I said, you better handle your local jokers, bro. You can chill out. And he's like, "Oh man, well, you know." I said, "Well," I said, dude, you know, Ron DeSantis is trying to get rid of property taxes down here in Florida. What's Kathy doing? Man, she increased the taxes on this."
Yep. All right. So we have been through 3 of the 17 stories that we have to get through. And before we continue, we're going to hear from our next couple of sponsors. We'll be right
Indeed,
back.
we are. Yes.
Well, in the case of hydroxychloroquine and
Mhm.
ivermectin, these are 2 medications that have been FDA approved for use in humans for decades. They are very, very inexpensive. Interestingly, available over the counter in almost every other country other than the US and Canada.
Yeah.
You can just walk into a pharmacy and buy them like we buy Tylenol in much of the world because they're that safe. And we've known for decades that ivermectin has very strong antiviral properties. It has anti-inflammatory properties, and both ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine are what we call zinc ionophores. They help to move zinc from the bloodstream into the cell, which is where it needs to be in order to fight off a virus. So lots of application for these, and we have every reason to believe that those drugs also will likely have some efficacy against H5N1 or a number of other respiratory viruses that we may meet down the road.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. You may have noticed that the companies whose products you buy tend to kind of hate you. They're controlled by massive multinational corporations, and they have all kinds of weird agendas that you're supporting when you buy their products. We didn't realize that nicotine pouches, which we've used for years, were in this category. We just want a nicotine pouch. And then they lecture you and take the money you give them to support things that you hate. So we decided we're going to make our own, and we did. And it is, we can say, not bragging here, just stating fact, the single best nicotine pouch in the world. It's called ALP, and it comes in all kinds of excellent flavors. Wintergreen, tropical fruit, chilled mint, refreshing chill, sweet nectar, and a bunch of others that we're rolling out. By the way, there are 20 per tin, not 15 like some of our competitors who will not be named Zen. And they're in 3, 6, and 9 milligrams. It is the single best nicotine pouch ever made. Go to alppouch.com. You will not regret it.
And we're back. Well, one of us is.
I'm on strike until Jared Polis reverses the bill.
You can't go on strike about Jared Polis. You don't live here.
I don't care. I care about the kids.
Why are you harming me for Jared Polis?
All right. Yeah.
All right. So this came out over the weekend. This is Edward Solomon, who is a researcher who has done, I think he's like a math. Let's see if he says. Let's see if he says what he is. He doesn't. He doesn't say what he is. He's a, data scientist, super smart math guy. Most of the things that he says go over my head because that's how it is with math. But this is really interesting. And I'm going to go down here to
we got AI. There's no reason to not be good at math anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm good at math with AI for sure. I'm fucking awesome at math.
Awesome.
if I can use AI, then yeah, I'm a
You
I'm
get a Don
a math whiz.
You get a Don DeMarco for being a math whiz with AI.
The problem is that I firmly believe that if you're using AI for anything, you need to independently fact check it because it hallucinates and makes shit up. And if it's making up math, I can't fact check it. So
you always got to ask, like, are you sure?
Yeah, well, I could, go ask Ed Solomon, who actually knows how to do math. So this is what started this whole thing. Arapahoe County, on or about October 29th, 2024, Mr. Shiro Kurawaki, an assistant professor at Yale University, notified the clerk and recorder's office that he suspected there were errors published in the 2020 general election cast vote record, suggesting the errors were likely due to mistakes made during the redaction process. Arapahoe County election staff conducted a review that confirmed Mr. Kurawaki's hypothesis and performed a new redaction of the original unredacted cast vote record, then uploaded the corrected CVR to arapahoevotes.gov on or about April 2nd, 2025. Now, this is a couple notable things in here. One, the cast vote record, for folks that don't know, is the data record of the election. It shows the true results. Two, they've admitted now to altering it. So they've altered, they redacted it originally, they did some stuff wrong, and they've changed it in 2025. They changed the official data record of the 2020 election in Arapahoe County. That's messed up. But the other thing that's interesting about this, Darren, is that date, October 29th, 2024. There was something else going on in Colorado elections on that date. That was the date. Well, it was the day after. October 28th, 2024 was the day that Jenna Griswold's BIOS password was exposed to the
to
the
the
public.
entire planet. Yeah.
to the public, yeah. And it was, it was, an accident. There was some scratch paper that was kept in this file, and we didn't realize it was there and hidden and totally open to the public. The BIOS passwords for like 600 devices, some of them inactive because they had been deactivated already. Some of them still active for those pieces of equipment, had been up and publicly available to the entire planet since before the primary of the 2024 election. And that BIOS password leak was treated like, oh, it's just an accident. It doesn't mean anything. There's no big deal. And that's funny because they just, put Tina Peters through the crucible over BIOS passwords and what they claimed was a leak, and she stole them and she leaked them, which was never true, but it gave them the predicate to do a whole bunch of horrible shit to her and put her in prison for 9 years. And she's, if you would like to support Tina Peters, find out more about what she's going through, tinapeters.us is the only place to donate for Tina Peters. But this is interesting, the timing of this and the fact that they're changing it, and why Arapahoe County would feel the need to put this up now. Interesting stuff. So Ed Solomon has some of those same concerns, and he did some analysis on this. We're going to read what he has to say, and I believe that his exhibit was filed in a court filing in Nevada, but it has to do with Arapahoe County CVRs. The dissenting facts of We the People, Ninth Amendment, consent of the governed is retained by the people. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government. Mr. Ed K. Solomon, the manifold witness, the ghost of John LeBurn, the breaker of chains, the writings of a self-proclaimed constitutional gangsta and New York State certified convicted felon. Math alone proves manipulation. Philosophy defines its meaning. Without both, the argument is blind in one eye. April 13th, 2025. We do not come before this court to ask for justice, for we contend the republic is already dead. We come instead to demand an autopsy, to name the cause of death as digital elections executed by corporate proprietary software. And if this court still holds any part of the departed spirit of the Constitution, we ask it to perform a miracle to resurrect the republic from beyond the grave. And since the court is the only unelected branch, the court is the only branch that can restore fair elections, for neither the state legislatures nor the federal Congress can be the judge of their own cause. Reynolds versus Sims, 1964, and the Federalist Papers, number 10. Furthermore, that the 9th supersedes the 10th, for the reserved powers of the state and local governments cannot override the consent of the governed, which has been and always shall be retained by the people. And that Article 6 binds the state governments to the supreme law of the land, that's the Supremacy Clause, the Constitution of the United States, and that any state law, including election law, which violates the Constitution is null and void. Article 6, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. See Marbury versus Madison, 1803, and Cooper versus Aaron, 1958, and Westbury versus Sanders, 1964, and Reynolds versus Sims, 1964, quoted below. A law enacted by a legislature, some or all of whose members were elected from districts in violation of the Constitution, is not thereby rendered immune from attack. And know that when you rule 9-0 in the plaintiff's favor and the state legislatures declare open rebellion under color of law to hold a constitutional convention that we the people will defend you by all means necessary and proper to enforce the Constitution of the United States. And in the event of a 9-0 ruling, since the Republic has long since perished, nothing changes, or to borrow from the wisdom of America's 21st century elites, what difference does it make? It was noble while it lasted, but the American experiment has proven that the people could neither keep nor maintain a republic. Also, after 09 ruling, sorry, I think I said 9-0 before, it's 09. The only remedy we seek is death certificate, and that an Arlington tombstone be erected in its honor. The United States, 1788 to 2025. She, Elizabeth Willing Powell, asked Benjamin Franklin outside the convention hall, "Well, doctor, what have we got, a republic or a monarchy?" Franklin replied, "A republic, madam, if you can keep it." A 9-0 ruling would mark the first case to restore the republic and establish the rule of law. An 09 ruling, however, would not render this case ordinary nor even extraordinary, only final, the last case, not a landmark one. And that's bold.
Indeed, it is.
Assertion. But I mean, here's the thing: if we don't have free and fair elections, if we don't have verifiably accurate elections, if the elections can be manipulated by computer software, if the will of the voters can be diluted with bloated voter rolls and all mail-in ballots dropping from the sky, if we're not going to actually validate that the people casting votes in the election are eligible with their sworn declaration that they make on the outside of their mail-in ballot, that they are who they say they are and casting a legitimate vote, if none of that matters,
And it's over.
Then we don't have, we're not given the mechanism to afford our consent to be governed, and therefore it's, they're illegitimate.
My thing is this. I'm trying to figure out like why nobody's asking more questions about why like look at the numbers of the past most recent election, right? Where's the extra, how many votes did Kamala get? Like 70 something million?
Yeah, something like
What
that.
happened to
Maybe.
what happened to the rest that Biden had? He had 81 million votes, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's asking any
No, we
questions.
didn't.
Well, we know that, but nobody's asking any
He never
questions.
did. That was never real. Yeah, we
Not
all
even-
ask them. We all ask them, and we're told that we're, oh, you're just an election denier.
yes,
You
I am.
understand
I
that
am.
we have the safest and most secure elections. We have the gold standard of elections. No, you can't ask questions. And when you identify issues that prove that we're not the gold standard of elections, we're not going to deal with those issues. We're going to destroy your life. We're going to either go after you criminally in the case of Tina Peters. Tina Peters released electronic vote manipulation. That is the net effects of the 3 Mesa County reports, is that there's a second set of books. The machines are absolutely connected to the internet, and there's a whole bunch of funny business happening with the results information that's in the back end of the system that the people managing the the administrators working within the EMS don't see. That's the net effects of the Mesa County reports. And the 5280 strategies shilling Matt Crane, who runs the Colorado County Clerks Association, came out and handled everybody when those reports came out. He had talking points. He addressed the issues line by line. His explanations were largely nonsensical, but the elected officials are non-technical people. So they have to defer to the escalation of the subject matter expert, who also happens to be one of the state's biggest lobbyists.
Right.
The whole thing is absolutely corrupted. And the reality is we're not allowed to check. We're not allowed to check the government's work. I tried to check the government's work and got sued, spent 3.5 years of my life fighting in federal court, and I'm still fighting in the 10th Circuit now in appeals. And that's the truth of our election system. I'm not going to stop telling the truth about that until they can give us verifiably accurate elections, until we can verify the accuracy of the elections. They can fuck all the way off, because they've been nothing but obstructive. And when they're caught in lies, they investigate themselves, declare it's fine, and they just keep going.
That's why education is so important. We need to instill civic values, patriotism, and pride in our country. It's only done by showing the true heroes in history that cause positive change. I totally understand what you're saying. But let me tell you something. We've allowed so much dissent, or just dissent is the wrong word. We have, it's too much diversity. Okay, you want to know why other countries are so like this with one another? Because it's more of a homogenous society.
Yeah.
We've allowed people in this country that can't stand us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's all over the place. It's crazy. It's insane. You got people in Congress that really don't like the United States.
Well, yeah, and at the same time, so Abby also, she put in, we are a republic, not a democracy, but we're being run as a democracy, which is mob rule. And that tees up our next story perfectly because the seventh wolf has died. And I think that the Colorado wolves, this, get ready because this irritates the shit out of me.
Not the Jared Wolves.
I did rug pull. It's really his husband's wolves, but yes.
Oh, okay.
I did rug pull radio with G Money on Thursday nights.
How was it?
Just this past Thursday night, and he's a major democracy guy. He believes with the right consensus mechanism and the right system that we can participate in major democracy. The wolves is my go-to example of why this is stupid. Because major democracy will not work because the mob will rule over the people that actually have the interest in the issue. That's what happened with wolves. So the environmentalists and a bunch of city folks decide that they want to reintroduce wolves. So they go get a bunch of wolves from Oregon and British Columbia and they bring them to Colorado. They do a whole bunch of, photo ops and open the cage and the wolves run free. I think there's 15 of them. So 7 of the 15 are dead. 7 of the 15 wolves are dead.
How did this one die?
That's a good question. Some of them have been shot. Some of them have been killed in confrontations with other animals. Let's see what happened to this one. Did not indicate what may have caused it, but
So
they
you
will
got
do a necropsy.
So who's shooting them? Like farmers?
Ranchers. So I know one of them died when it was shot in Wyoming. So they released it in Colorado. It's like, fuck this shit. I'm getting out of this state. So it goes up to Wyoming, and Wyoming, they don't have the same rules. So they killed it.
And what was the
And the wolves are like, killing cattle, killing people's dogs. Like it's the silliest vanity project. But here's the thing. The majority voted to reintroduce the wolves. The population centers were really excited about reintroducing the wolves. The people who bear the harm from that decision.
Hold on.
No, I will not. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying.
Reintroducing something that wasn't there. Reintroducing it to what?
There were wolves before and they left, probably because of all the communism. But so the city people decide we really want wolves. We like wolves. This sounds cool. Let's do this. This is a fun project. Let's reintroduce wolves. So they vote to decide. They have zero stake in what happens when you reintroduce wolves. The people that have the stake in it are the mountain communities and the ranchers and the people that are actually going to be dealing with the wolves that are being reintroduced. But the mob decided that we need to have wolves. So they release the wolves. The cattle are dying. The dogs are dying. There's the losses associated with this project. And, oh, by the way, fucking wolves are dying.
Click, clack.
That's why America is not a democracy, because if America was a democracy, then Jared Polis and his ilk and his husband and their yeah, exactly. Wolves are cool though, but wolves are super cool. And wouldn't it be super cool if we had wolves back in Colorado? Well, no, actually, because they're going to die and they're going to take a whole bunch of other animals with them.
Oh, snap. Democracy is ruled by
100%.
people. People are
100%. Preach, EC. Yeah. So when people tell you, why aren't we a major democracy? Well, because it's mob
the people are retarded.
And the people it's the reason we're a representative republic, though, because not everybody has an equal stake in the outcome of societal decisions. Those things need to be weighted with the people who are going to bear the harm of the societal decision. I like wolves. I would like it if the Colorado executive branch would stop murdering them, would stop taking them from their homes and other places where they're happy and running free, right? They're wolf communities, they're wolf families, right? Think about that map. See if you can find this. If somebody in the chat can find it and drop a link, that'd be awesome. But think about that map of the wolf. Have you seen that where it shows the wolves that were tagged by whatever EPA person tagged them, shows their migratory lines. And you can see that wolf packs generally stay within their region of the country. There's not a lot of running over into other areas because they're actually, pretty territorial. Well, what the Colorado people are doing is taking some wolves from that one area and putting them in an area where they don't belong in. And oh, by the way, they're getting killed. But let's keep doing it. I think they just voted to add more wolves.
You talking about the U.S. gray wolf distribution map?
Yeah, see there at the bottom. CP officials have said they were planning to release 10 to 15 wolves annually for 3 to 5 years until Colorado's gray wolf population is stable and sustaining. Well, that seems unlikely considering that half of them are dead.
How much does this cost?
A lot. Oh, that's good. Let's see. See if that's in here. Good question.
That's what I mean by the Bitcoin thing. I just mean,
how much has wolf reintroduction cost Colorado? According to a news report from KDVR, it's been $4.7 million and an additional $800,000 per year provided by voters in the 2020 election. Sure, guys. Sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Ash.
For real. Actual costs have surged over $2 million annually. $2 million annually. Costing us $2 million a year
to do what?
To take British Columbian and Oregonian wolves and kill them in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Why didn't they get them all in one swing? So why is it $2 million a year?
No, because they're releasing 10 to 15 per year. They're going to keep releasing. Oh, yeah. It's been an epic failure by all metrics.
Just leave them where they at. Why? What is it? Why? What is the point?
Man-made wolf change?
What does Jared just do? Sit in the bed with his husband and just be like,
I don't want
Jared, I have a good idea.
I don't want that in my head.
How does that go? How does that conversation go? Hey, Jared, I have a great idea. Let's get some wolves.
I think the wolves should have the opportunity to fight back against the people that are.
It's all fun and games
when
somebody gets eaten.
Yeah. Well, think about it, but they're taking them from their homes.
Yeah.
Right?
So the kidnapping. Yeah. They're wolf napping.
Yeah.
Okay.
From their wolfy families.
To
be a part of a stupid vanity project and probably get killed because you have a 50% death chance if you're a wolf.
That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You get shot by a farmer. You got kidnapped and got shot by a farmer. Imagine that. That's your life. That sucks.
Yeah, it does actually. It's pretty messed up.
I was just chilling.
So from wolves to monkeys, we're going to monkeys now. Colorado suspect among 11 indicted for involvement with online groups dedicated to monkey torture. U.S. Department of Justice said Friday. Yep. A suspect from Colorado was among 11 indicted for their involvement in online groups dedicated to monkey torture and mutilation. Officials said the indictment was unsealed on Friday, and the 11 suspects were accused of being involved with online groups dedicated to creating and distributing disturbing videos showing acts of extreme violence and sexual abuse against the monkeys.
What?
Officials said the suspects were accused of paying a previously charged defendant from Cincinnati to create and distribute the disturbing videos. The suspects allegedly paid the Cincinnati suspect, Nicholas Dryden, who would then pay a minor in Indonesia to commit the acts on camera. Holy shit. And then said the indictment detailed 79 acts in which this occurred. Carter Fawcett of Colorado, also known as Captain, was charged in these alleged crimes, according to officials. Officials identified another 10 suspects and charged them. They are, I'm just going to read where they're from.
Hold on. See, they weren't doing it here. They were doing it. They were watching somebody do it online.
Yeah, so it's the creation of the content was happening in Indonesia, but the people commissioning and distributing the content were here in the States from Arizona, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, New York, Connecticut, Louisiana, Kentucky, and North Carolina and Colorado.
You ain't got nothing else to do on your Friday night? You just yo, dog, monkey torture time. Get the popcorn. Like, what are we doing here? Yo, you got some skills? All right, time to let's tune in.
It's
Find a
it's
hobby.
horrifying,
Jesus Christ.
but you have to realize there's a market for that, Darren. It's only a thing because people will pay for it.
That is nasty.
That's horrible.
Work.
Poor little monkeys.
People are psychopaths.
Little Indonesians raping
Is
monkeys.
where's a nice sane place on the planet? Is there a sane place? What is the most sane state? Let's find out.
That's a good question. What do you guys in the chat think? What's the
Take a guess.
what's
Yeah,
the
what is-
most sane state? Tell us what you think. Story really pisses me off. All right, so we're going to speaking of predators,
Nebraska.
we had Nebraska is the most sane. I believe it. Maybe
That makes sense.
Oklahoma.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So oh, whoops. Wrong one. Hang on.
I could see like okay, Arkansas was another one.
So we have another predator found in Jeffco schools. There's loads of predators in Jeffco schools. Libs of TikTok said, I don't say this lightly. After running this account for 3 years, I believe Jeffco schools in Colorado may be the worst school district in this country, and the DOJ and Department of Education should start an investigation into this district. Some of their actions are straight up criminal. I'm looking for the story here. There's a new
you know what?
A new pedo.
You just might be right, future objective. You just might be right. Yeah. Once you get well, you need the Everglades guys. You know what I'm saying? They catch big snakes and all that. You need those guys. Yeah.
I remember hearing recently, you probably have more info on this, that they actually did put alligators in the Rio Grande. Is that true?
I don't know, but that would be dope as hell. I mean, we got more than enough of them in Florida. Just come grab some and just hey, you know what I'm saying?
I like it.
Just like you did the wolves.
All right, here we go. So
release the gators.
This guy, see if I can make it bigger. Oh, it's not letting me make it bigger.
Yeah,
Jefferson County school psychologist trusted to help the district's most vulnerable kids was arrested on Tuesday on a slew of disturbing charges, including allegedly soliciting child prostitution. It's the latest in what parent watchdogs call an epidemic fueled by permissive culture of sexualization in Jeffco schools. James Michael Chevrier, 38, faces allegations of sexually assaulting a student under the age of 15 while in a position of trust, soliciting child prostitution, drug possession with intent to manufacture and distribute, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
So how much time is he going to get?
He'll probably get out with like a warning.
Right.
That's how it goes in Colorado. I'm going to pull, so talk for a second because I'm going to pull this sanctuary. Yeah, we
to all the watchers of the Colorado show that I think we need to change the state to Kitty-Rado because kind of sick out there. I feel bad for all of you. You're in my prayers. Yeah,
so we put this out last week. Our Colorado schools predator sanctuaries. And the reason I pulled this up, I was talking about that case we just went through, but we have a list. We pulled together a list of the just overwhelming number of adults in positions of trust and authority over children who are predators. Clifford Smith, 66-year-old teacher at Strasburg High School, was arrested for sexually assaulting a 15-year-old in 2022. James Thomer, 55-year-old teacher at Douglas County High School, was arrested for sexually assaulting a child in June of 2024. Evan King, 50-year-old teacher and assistant track coach at Lincoln Middle School, arrested for inappropriately touching students, July 2024. Pueblo County, Russell Davis, former teacher in District 70, was sentenced to 20 years of probation after pleading guilty to sexual assault on a child by one in a position of trust. That happened in August. January of this year, Lisa Thayer, a teacher at Colorado West Christian School, was arrested for engaging in inappropriate communications with a student including unlawful electronic sexual communications. Lakewood, February 2025. Kay Ewer, a 28-year-old paraprofessional at Brady Exploration School, was sentenced to 4 years in prison for sexually assaulting a 16-year-old special needs student. She also introduced him to fentanyl and urged him to bring a gun to school to shoot a colleague. What is happening in Colorado schools? This is not just a new phenomenon. As we just read in that list, it goes back to 2022, probably goes back beyond that. Also doesn't include the stories of the teacher that was grooming the student and then they fled the state together in their lesbian relationship. That wasn't on there. The Smotherman case that we talked about earlier, where Joanne Smotherman was in a position of trust over an autistic girl, and now that child lives with her against her family's wishes. This is a sanctuary for predators.
That's two? There's two different cases?
There's a whole bunch more that are more grooming that aren't sexual assault. The only thing that's in that list is sexual assault. The grooming cases aren't in there, and the grooming cases are myriad.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is. Super insane. Super insane that nothing has been done yet.
Come to Colorado, Darren. Come visit. It'll be fun, they said. No.
I don't think anybody's going to inappropriately touch you.
It's
not like you're in a school.
Yeah, but I'm hot. I'm hot, so I know it'll happen. I'm very attractive, so I'm desirable.
Yeah, unwanted attention. You don't want that unwanted attention.
Yeah, I'm too desirable for Colorado. I can't have it.
Oh boy. All right, let me pull up these next few stories and we'll go power round through them. All right. So this one I found kind of funny. Do you remember when we covered that story of the woman that was like stacking EV rebates and trying to get a car for free? Do you remember that?
No.
You have to remember that story. You don't remember that story?
No, man.
Yeah, so she was upset because there was like some change to the rebate program for electric vehicles, and her BMW ended up costing her like $2,500 instead of being free because she was stacking all the incentives to get an EV. So a lot of people, I think, have moved into the electric vehicle category because there was a ton of incentives associated with that. But some people are, regretting it now. State error impacting more than 3,000 Colorado electric vehicle owners. Quote, people are disappointed. More than 3,000 Colorado electric and hybrid truck owners are getting some expensive news as they try to re-register their vehicles in 2025. They're being told to pay their 2025 registration fees and an additional unexpected fees from 2024 after the State Division of Motor Vehicles miscalculated tax credits on their vehicles. It's not my ideal way to treat customers, said Tina Harris, Larimer County Clerk and Recorder. The state is not feeling the impact that we're feeling. So take all these rebates, take all these tax incentives, do all these things, and whoops, we recalculated. If the state miscalculates how much tax they owe, they shouldn't be able to come back and be like, yeah, you owe us more.
Hold on. What did EC say? He said, I brought a gun to work to try to show it off to my coworkers. Another job I had.
I feel like I'm in a manual report situation.
Worst part of
mandatory
downtown. That's crazy. Let me see. It's the 3 blue entities.
It could be, yeah. The occult entities that are being prayed to and shit.
Yeah.
Especially that creepy ass goat with the red eyes.
I met a few EV owners who believe electricity is free. How do they manage that? How does that work?
Very quickly learned that it is not.
That's crazy.
This is an interesting surprise. Polis vetoes bill that would ban municipal courts from imposing harsher sentences than state courts. The mayors of 3 Colorado's largest cities wrote a letter to the governor urging him to veto the legislation. This is specific to county home rule, constitutional rights of home rule cities. That is a good thing, in my opinion. It gives you a little bit of sovereignty against the state. I believe Douglas County is pushing for home rule status now in the next election. They'll be trying to get that passed. Hopefully, we'll fix elections by then, because it doesn't mean anything right now. But Polis erring on the side of greater sovereignty is a surprise. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Another story we have
after he took your kids. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. We'll take your kids, but we'll allow them.
But I'll be
sane.
sane. What is he like? One for 85 insanity. All right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, you know what I think it is I think he's doing certain things in anticipation of his run for president. So he couldn't.
That bill ain't gonna do it.
Well, but hang on. There's no video of him signing that bill. Because
but it's signed though, right?
He didn't, yes, but he didn't hold a signing ceremony, right? He's trying to do certain things. Like, I don't think he could not sign that bill because his party would have like strung him up, and they are actually violent. But he, got rid of that one, did it really quickly, and then, very big proclamation of veto over home rule. He's a savvy political actor. Don't underestimate Jared
him and Gavin are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gavin, trying to move back to the center. He's like, yeah, we need to get the homeless encampments out of here. What the hell you been doing for the past decade, you goofball?
Yep. So Denver air traffic control went dark for 90 seconds, according to the FAA last spring. We've had a run of issues with air traffic control.
Here's my question to you.
Interestingly, since President Trump took office,
real quick. Was this all this happening during Pete Buttigieg's term as air?
This would have, yeah, if it happened last spring, absolutely. We're being told about it now, though, because they wanted to hurt President Trump. Pilots flying near Denver International Airport lost communication with air traffic control for almost 2 minutes on Monday because of equipment failures. Is it Monday? Oh, no, it is. This is new. This didn't happen last spring. This happened just Monday. Denver Air Route Traffic Control Center lost communication with pilots for about 90 seconds at 1:50 when transmitters that cover a segment of airspace went down, the FAA said in a statement on Thursday. The center in Longmont is one of 22 across the United States and covers 285,000 miles of airspace over 9 states, including portions of Wyoming, Kansas, Utah, Nebraska, New Mexico, South Dakota, and Arizona. When the transmitters went down, air traffic controllers used another frequency to communicate instructions to pilots. FAA officials said aircraft remained safely separated and there were no impacts to operations. The agency said the FAA is investigating. The outage primarily impacted a primary and main backup frequency, but not radar operations. FAA's head of air traffic control said during a hearing. Denver 7 first reported the communication failure on Wednesday. What do you make of all of the FAA? So what the people that are critical of President Trump and the Trump administration will say.
Oh, don't worry. I got something for that.
Can I get my statement out before you?
You can't. Because it's too premature. You have to do it at the right time. It's too premature. It's got to go together. You shouldn't ask that just yet.
Go ahead. Wait a minute. Go ahead.
No. I got to send you something so you can show it.
Oh, okay. So I could have actually gotten my statement out. Fucking asshole. All right. So what the critics will say is that that President Trump eliminated DEI, right? And so that's resulting. So eliminating DEI is resulting in a whole bunch of problem. We need DEI because we can't do air traffic control without DEI. I don't really believe that. I think it seems like the DEI people might be sabotaging. In my opinion, totally speculating.
I forgot what the guy's name was. There was a gentleman who was training air traffic controllers, and I think he said he had to they had the answers or something. I forgot this guy's name. He did a whole video on it. It was like they had the answers given to them. It was almost like they were coached to it.
Yeah.
So he's like, he said this is not a good thing. We know the DEI is dead. And truth be told, it didn't benefit anybody but middle-aged white women anyway. So, I don't see why everybody's so gung ho about it. It's dumb. It's a dead horse. And somebody pointed something out to me. They're like, how the men ain't complaining about DEI being gone. It's mostly boomer white women and boomer sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I mean, I think it goes back to the change that they've been trying to effect in our country since the 1960s. They've been trying to transform our society into, this into major democracy, but also the intersectionality of it all, divide
I
us
hate that
into different
word.
categories and have all of the oppression Olympics against,
Uh,
about what points do you get for which immutable characteristic that you have. And that they've been true believers in that for decades, and they're watching it. The white boomer ladies, the old white boomer ladies is who I'm talking about. Old and boomers, redundant. Sorry for that. But now they're seeing it slip away. And they've been pushing for it for so long. They really thought they were going to get there with Kamala being the president. God, I can't believe that was even on the table.
we would have
Yeah,
died.
yeah, I think so. What am I
But
looking
yeah,
at here?
here's the real numbers, okay, of all the accidents.
Oh,
Yeah. So everybody talking shit. Look at all these numbers, man. Trump is doing pretty well.
yeah, he
Nothing's
is.
it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is.
That's
So
fantastic data, Darren. Well done.
thank you. Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
Because people just be talking, running their meat suckers. And you can't have that. So then when you point this out to people, they're like, well, still, it's on his watch. like, dude, look at the numbers. Where was all this smoke when Zombie Joe was out here falling on stage?
They were covering
None
for
of
him.
yeah, where like Pete Booty Juice was out here riding his bike around like a
Mhm.
fruit basket, and nobody said anything. You know what I'm saying? What happened to the billions of dollars
Fact.
for EV chargers? What happened to that? You only built 3? And bullshit is that? Give me my money back, bitch.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna try and end at the bottom of the hour. I don't know if we'll get all the way there, but I want to talk about this. Because you know how you guys in Florida did you legalize recreational weed or not?
Hell no. Hell no.
So just medical, right?
It's medical. Yeah.
So there's a push across the nation to legalize for recreational purposes marijuana and psychedelics. Colorado is obviously tip of that spear.
Of course they are.
We've had weed legalized since I think it was 2011, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make whatever arguments you want, but the argument that I want to make about that is the fact that as soon as they do that in your state, if you're in a state where you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get legalized weed, it's gonna be super awesome, everything's gonna be amazing, and then as soon as they legalize it, it turns into a regulatory freaking nightmare because they see it as ways to get fees, taxes, all the things, right? So we have a 5 new marijuana and psychedelics bills in 2025. Lawmakers introduced a measure proposing higher dispensary purchasing limit, bills addressing the state's declining pot tax revenue, and one effort to severely limit marijuana and psilocybin product offerings. So
I don't
5
think it's
bills.
good. I don't think that's good for I don't think recreational weed is good for states. Like
Well,
I saw the Colorado gold rush. I watched it happen. I watched people leave here and go to Colorado, and they're like, "Yeah, man, we can go out there and grow weed." Some dudes came back rich. Some people came back fucked up financially. like,
yeah.
it was a dice roll. I watched, and then all of a sudden, I'm hearing like, I got relatives there, so I'm hearing like they're like, "Yo, shit is expensive as hell here now. Like, housing is expensive. Everybody, all these landlords are greedy. Like everybody has moved here, and the prices of like everyday living have shot through the roof. So I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for the for states at all.
Well, there you go. You should fight it in yours.
Yeah, Ron ain't having that. Big Ron, he ain't with that shit.
All right, what else do we have? They're looking to do open containers on hang on, I stopped sharing. Open containers on 16th Street Mall. I
What
like
is
this
that?
idea.
What is 16th Street?
Our pedestrian mall. So they just did this like big revamp of it, and it's unfortunate. 16th Street Mall, it was in the summertime, awesome outdoor art installations, great restaurants, and it's a pedestrian mall, so you can walk all over, not have to worry about getting smacked. You can still get hit by a bus or a car or a bike, but not by a car. And
What about
so
a
now
junkie?
they are. What's that?
What about a junkie?
Lousy with them. We got loads of them.
Okay.
The fentanyl zombies have pretty much moved into 16th Street Mall.
Gotcha.
When CanCon came out here to cover my trial, Brian Lupo was out here, and he was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing in terms of just the number of fentanyl zombies that are wandering around the streets of Denver.
So are they like slumped over, like
Oh yeah,
just standing there, like?
yeah.
Okay.
So, you can smoke weed outside. You can be a fentanyl zombie outside. You can eat a bunch of mushrooms and trip outside. So why can't you drink?
That's
Seems
true.
like fair.
I think the people that want to drink.
Asymmetrical system.
I think the people that want to drink actually need it to deal with all the other shit.
Facts.
Boom. Well, let me give myself a Don DeMarco. Thank you.
You should give yourself a Don DeMarco. All right. Last couple things that I have are so the the farmers markets are coming back. We love farmers markets in Colorado. They're all over the state. This week on Colorado Free Press, we'll have backup. It's been a long winter, but last year we had the farmers market listing published every single week. We're going to try and get that back up for you guys again. So make sure you're following coloradofreepress.com and get your.
Are you going?
What's that?
Are you gonna go
to the farmers market? Yeah.
Can you get me something?
I mean, I go to the one in Castle Rock.
Can you get me something that I can't get out here?
Probably lots of things.
I doubt it.
Yeah. I'll FaceTime you while we're at the farmers market.
I want some like honey or something, like some, something.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'll do is when I go, I will I'll FaceTime you, but we'll also take some video and we'll show everybody how awesome the farmers markets are. Because as we talk about, played that shipwreck video. Your purchasing decisions are one of the best tools that you have, weapons at your disposal to resist the tyranny of Colorado communists. And shopping at the farmers market, finding go to the farmers market to meet the local people that are producing these products and then form a relationship with them and get your products from them, your beef, your vegetables, all sorts of things. Colorado farmers market season is epic.
Resist the mechanism.
And I saw another story that Colorado wineries are actually doing better than the national average in terms of alcohol businesses. And so as you're making decisions to buy local, consider getting some Colorado wine, local wine. We've got great wineries out in
I don't drink anymore though.
Western Slope. Well, not you, but the people.
Oh, that wasn't an offer for me? Get you then.
Oh, maybe we can find you some non-alcoholic Colorado. Yeah, that's what I'll get you. I'll get you non-alcoholic Colorado wine.
No.
Stop striking. You can't strike. All right. So this is the last thing we're going to talk about. It's not did you want to talk about the South Florida story that you had?
No.
All right.
I don't actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do that.
You want to do that? Okay.
Actually,
we'll do that first.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so lady, it's very simple. Lady been here 20 years. She came in illegally in 2005. She never went to her court date. She gets smacked with a bill for like $1.8 million because every day that you're here, you get taxed $500. So now she's like, "Ooh, mi corazón, mi corazón, like,
show me mercy."
Show me mercy. Yeah.
I don't. Did she come here in 2005? I thought she got her removal order in 2005.
Because that could have been. I thought she came here in 2005, but either way, she's been here 20 years. So, if it's 20 years, then yeah. So that means
yeah. You had 20 years to figure out your shit.
And she got 3 kids here.
She's facing these fines, but she's also facing deportation, right?
Yeah, she's got 3 children here. And Tom Homan's not in the business of separating families, so hey, they can all leave together.
If they're minor children, then she has the right to take them with her if she wants.
I mean, she looked kind of old, so
if they're adult children and U.S. citizens, then whatever. But
yeah, Madre gotta
go.
Madre gotta go.
Coming into our country and unlawfully and evading detection for years is a crime. It's multiple crimes.
Fact.
And no one is above the law.
It's a part of our strength.
Allegedly.
It's a source.
Some
of
people are
crime.
very much above the law. So I like this
Is that
interview.
big? Is that Dan?
Yeah, we had Cash, this is Storm Redux at the Storm Redux on X. Cash Patel and Dan Bongino say they uncovered new information pertaining to the Russiagate hoax, and accountability is coming. Quote, I'm telling you and the American public that we now have found material and information and people who want to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. We are trying to do it in a fashion where not only are we informing the American public of what happened, but we can have accountability for it. And that takes a little bit more time. Justice is coming, and that is this is what I voted for. I don't want to just know about the crimes, right? I want people to be prosecuted and punished for the crimes.
I wish I could. I got it. You gonna play this?
Yeah, we'll play it as an outro. We're gonna get out of here after this. Do you want me to stick around so you can react to it, and then we'll go?
No, I gotta pee.
Okay, yeah. We're going to play this as an outro. So we're going to say goodbye. We'll be back on May 28th, Wednesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time for the next installment of the Colorado Show. We're super excited about our new time. And with that, please smash the like button wherever you're watching us. Share the show. Helps us out quite a bit. We do appreciate it. And we will see you guys next time.
Peace.
Cheers.
I was the lead Russiagate investigator for the House Intelligence Committee. And I've been on both your shows in a prior life talking about it. And I'm telling you and the American public that we have now found material and information and people who wanted to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. And we, as the deputy said, we are trying to do it in a fashion where not only are we informing the American public of what happened, but we can have accountability for it. And that takes a little bit more time. And when you layer on the fact that we are rolling out our priorities on violent crime and defending the homeland, you know, we're running a three-part animal here, and we're going 100 miles an hour on each single one.
So important.
Wait, I want to add to that too, because what the director's saying is right. You got to remember, we come in the morning, there's a portfolio of 100 level 10 items. If it's a level 9, which is a pretty big freaking deal, someone else fixed it. The only thing that gets to my desk or his is a level 10. That's the entire day. Look at his schedule any given day. I'll show you the palm card I have. It is filled from 7:30 to he leaves 7 at night, 6:30 at night. It's filled all day. We just can't focus on one thing. You want New York to go boom? DC to go boom? You want an OC organization to go hack into some cyber network and crack all of Fox News's holdings? We're dealing with all that stuff too. Everything's a priority. Everything's a priority. This is one of many things we do. It's not an excuse. It's just reality.